Good evening, everybody. You're welcome to the show called TBR Solutions. Today, I have a an esteemed guest, all right, an esteemed guest on the issues of consumer rights. All right, let me just introduce myself. My name is Sobri Chabalala, or the Sobri Boys Walefatsi from TBR Solutions. I'm with Elias Shamatla. Will you kindly greet the viewers before I introduce you to the viewers out there? Who's Elias?
Good evening, Dr. Chawlala. Thank you for the opportunity, and I would like to greet the viewers out there. I hope you're gonna do a great job today.
Look, with you, I know we're gonna have a very exciting show. We are going to do a very great job because I know you have done extremely well. I'm very proud of you. Elias Shamatla is a director of Marefi, all right? And also a consumer activist with a vast experience in the credit industry, motor industry, and consumer services. He has many years of experience in the banking sector, covering debt management, collections, auctions, insolvency, and the diseased estates. He is doing consumer affairs program on SABC1, Lesedi FM, Radio Pulpit, and many other community radio stations. In the list, we are also included. All right. Now, from now on, every Monday at this time, 6 o'clock, we'll be tuning in and getting the consumer rights news. Now, let me tell you a little bit, where do I come from with Elias? We come a long way. It's quite a while. It's like 2002. I wonder whether Elias still remember 2002. So
I will remember when you released your book because I bought your first book.
Yes, 2002. Can you imagine? Yes. So 2002 is 20 years, 20 years. But we've known each other, all right? We've known each other for quite some time. And the good thing, I was graced by his presence in my place here at my office. We sat down and had a chat. He loves the credit industry, which is quite good because people don't understand that credit industry is very, very important. All right. Mr. Shamatla, I've just introduced you to the public out there. Today, what are we going to look at? Because the purpose is to educate. We want people to understand what is happening because the problem why people can't make it is because they are less educated. All right? So people like you are very handy to assist. So come in, Elias.
Let's start off with the debt review, which is what you do.
Exactly, yeah.
Let me first give a testimony to say one of your clients who was under debt review with your company was rehabilitated by you, and I helped that client of yours to acquire the property in the estate. He bought over 3 million rand house because you helped him while he was over indebted.
That's it. I didn't even know about that. That's good news. That's good news. Yeah.
Yeah, because after you have cleared him from credit bureau, after he has paid off his debts, which is a good thing about that review, by the way. He was under that review because he was over indebted. And he was about to lose his car, his house, and everything. You managed to negotiate the affordable installments with his credit providers. He paid the affordable installments until he finished paying off the unsecured debts in 5 years. After 5 years, you cleared him. You issued a clearance certificate. meaning he was welcomed back into the credit industry. He could now afford to buy anything that he could want to buy. So the first thing that he did was to buy a property in the estate, over 3 million, and he was approved once cut. And then afterwards, he started the business and he's doing well now. I just want to give the testimony of what your business has done for one family, multiplied by many other families that you have helped. And this goes to show you that the myth that that review doesn't work is not true. Hence the program of tonight. So I would like us to cover the issue of debt review. What is debt review?
While they are still there, what about the people who are saying, once you go under debt review, you are not allowed to take debts and new credits and so on? Because I've seen that a lot of people, they see that as a turn-off, all right? So do you want to say something about that? Ella?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Do you want to say something about that? What about those people who are saying, debt review?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Mr. Shamatla.
Yes.
I have debts. I'm a consumer. I owe credit card, clothing retailers, and everybody. My accounts are in arrears. So that means if I want to go and apply for a loan elsewhere, nobody's going to give me credit because I'm in arrears. I'm stuck. Eventually, everybody's going to take legal action against me, and they are going to garnish me. They are going to take my salary to pay off those debts if I don't do anything about it. So debt review is a statutory process which helps me to be rehabilitated. Meaning, debt counselor will help me to pay the affordable installments to my credit providers so that I don't get blacklisted. Remember, debt review doesn't blacklist you. All that it does, it informs the credit bureaus and the credit providers in general that Elias Shamatla is currently over indebted. He can't afford to pay what he has now. So debt review allows me to pay off all my debts. Once I've paid off all my debts, it means that I've got more money in my pocket. Therefore, I can be able to do as I wish, obviously within the parameters of the law. So how does one expect to acquire new credit while under debt review? How do you expect to acquire new credit when you cannot afford to pay what you have now?
Exactly.
Debt review says, don't overextend yourself. Don't go and borrow money from Peter to pay Paul. With money that you have in your hand, your company takes this money and restructures the accounts of the consumer. And when I said that, counselor, you even have a prerogative to reduce the interest rate. Because if the consumer is paying 23-24% interest rate on a credit agreement, as a debt counselor, you can be able to negotiate with the credit provider to reduce that to perhaps 10% or 15%. You know, and the consumer will be able to pay off all these debts without borrowing money from anyone else.
While they're still there, remember, if we can just explain to people that interest rate, 1% is not 1 rand, 1% is not 100 rand. If you can elaborate on that.
Yes.
And simultaneously add to the fact that once an order has been obtained with a reduced installment, what happens if the Reserve Bank increases the repo rate? Because once they increase the repo rate, that is going to affect the interest rate. So if you can come in on that one.
Well, we have got fixed interest rates and we have got variable interest rates. Fixed interest rate is whereby when you take up a loan, you say, I want to pay the fixed installment for the entire period of the loan, which is not common, by the way. The common one is the variable interest rate, whereby it fluctuates in line with the repo and prime rate as set up by the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank is the one that regulates the repo rate, and the credit providers, they decide what the prime rate will be. We must understand that prime rate is not set by the Reserve Bank, it's set by the banks. So all other credit providers will follow the banks. That's why, for those who have ever received summons or summonses, they will, or if somebody has ever owed you money and you sued that person, in your summons, you will quote the bank. You will say, I demand my money from this person, plus the interest rate as per FNB or as per ABSA, whatever bank you choose, because prime rate is set by the banks. So that's why you will see all the summonses are linked to a bank, because you have to quote one bank and link your interest to that one of the bank. So when you are in that review, let's say, for example, you earn 10,000 rand a month. Your living expenses are 4,000 rand. That's what you pay for the household expenses. And then you are left with 6,000 rand to pay the debts. But the debts are 8,000 rand. When you have got 6,000 rand. So the debt review company or debt counseling company will send a proposal to the credit providers to say, we extend the repayment periods, for example, on the credit card from 12 months, 24 months to 36 months or 60 months maximum. On the vehicle, up to 72 months and so forth. But if the consumer cannot afford to pay, you as a debt counselor, again, you have got what is called DCRS rules. Those are debt review restructuring rules accepted by all the credit providers. You can reduce the interest rate to repo plus 2. People don't know that. If you reduce that interest rate, the credit providers are going to accept that interest rate and the new installment, meaning that instead of me paying 5,000 rand for a particular for a particular credit agreement, I'm now going to pay 3,000 rand, which helps me now to settle my account within a reasonable period.
Yeah, no, people they don't know.
So that's how me as a consumer. And the last thing, people must understand that the courts do not have a mandate to change the interest rates. Only a debt counselor can do that, not a court. Because the debt counselor proposes the new interest rate to the credit provider to say, I see that the contractual interest rate is 23%. However, my client doesn't afford. I propose 10%. Most probably the credit provider is going to say, yes, we accept it.
Yeah, and we have seen some of them, they even go to 0.0 something or 0%, you know, and now.
We know. Yes.
Yes, that's an advantage for a consumer because on the basis of that, he has a chance of finishing even before than the person who's outside that review. Am I right?
You are so right. You and I know one credit provider in particular. When you sent him the proposal to say, okay, I'm proposing that my client must pay X amount at 10%, they automatically go to 0%. They say, as long as we can get our money back, we don't worry about the profit.
You know what? This is a very interesting subject. I want us to move on, and I want us to eat it piece by bit at all times. If we can end it here today, and then next week, Monday again, we'll start and elaborate. In the meantime, I'll ask people who have questions around the issues of debt review. You'll see at the end of the show, I'll be having a WhatsApp number. Just drop up your questions, and then I'll send them to Mr. Shamatla to prepare, and then so that when he comes next week, he answers those questions for you. Not only that, some of you might be having, debt review status and you can't be able to move. Just drop us a WhatsApp, then we'll be able to come back to you. Mr. Shamatla, maybe in your parting ways for today.
Let me say to the consumers, those who have heard about that review is not a death sentence. Actually, it's a rehabilitation program for you as a consumer. Like I've explained that one of your clients has been rehabilitated and he's living a better life now because he has learned his lessons where he made mistakes before, what led to his over-indebtedness. Now he's making a wiser decisions.
That's true.
Yes.
That's Mr. Shamatla. We are still going to hear a lot from him. He has saved people cars before. He has taken some of these big games to court. He has done extremely well. He have gone to car industry, stopped the rot that is happening there. Not all of them are doing those things, but few. There's always few that spoil the game. So Mr. Shamatla has taken some of them to task, and he has won those fights. So if you want to learn more, and probably you want to send a message to Mr. Shamatla, where they're having an issue around your car or your house and so on, drop us a WhatsApp and then we'll definitely come back. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate for your time. I know you're a very busy person.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chabalala. We will always be here when you want us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is the Sobre Boys Wanafatsi from a TBR Solution. TBR Solution is a financial company that helps people to be financially savvy. I'm sure these days you are aware that prices are very up in terms of petrol, in terms of goods and services. Prices are very, very high. Now, these days, we are on a campaign to help those members of GPF or government employees, especially if you are 55 years old or above and you are contemplating to resign or go on pension in 3 months' time. Give us a call or drop us a WhatsApp, then we'll call you back so that we help you to get your money expeditiously, as compared to sometimes people get their money after a long time. We will then transfer your money from GPF to Allen Gray, whom we have a relationship with. And the good news is, once the money has been transferred, you will choose how much you want to earn. If you happen to pass on, your spouse will also get the same amount. Then if it happens that both of you passes on, you would have appointed or selected beneficiaries. It could either be your children or anyone else. And there's nothing like age limit that they must be 22 or below. Even if they're above 22, they'll be able to get the inheritance from you. So that's how flexible it is. And then I know that sometimes people, they worry about medical aid and all that. We also have with other partners who assist you to get a medical aid. So if you want to learn more and get more information pertaining to that, just drop us a WhatsApp. We'll therefore come back to you. I thank you.